integration of the Fiscal Compact in the legal framework of the European Union should only be envisaged if the lessons of the last years are properly taken into account. The first lesson is this treaty is also about coordination and governance. And when it comes to coordination, the objectives are not only stability, but they are growth and convergence. And we have learned from the last years that these convergence should be guided by economic and social targets together. And the European semester should be designed with this purpose. When it comes to reforms, the assumption is that the reforms which will be recommended to member states, they should take into account their real priorities and not invented priorities. But then we need also to deal with the governance part of the treaty. And the governance must be democratic, which is not yet the case. This means that if a Eurozone summit is now being convened, let me recall that the treaty foresees that the Parliament President will be invited, and most of all, we need to make sure that all over the process, the European Parliament will play a central role. When we discuss the reforms of the EMU, when we discuss the fiscal stance, when we discuss the recommendation for the euro area. And we also need to recognize there is a role for the national parliaments. Yes, there is, when they are involved in discussing the national reform programmes and the country-specific recommendations. But overall, we do need an interinstitutional agreement to set the rules for a real democratic governance of the EMU. Finally, on fiscal discipline, let me be clear. Of course, we need a common fiscal discipline in the Eurozone to make it sustainable. But this is also clear that in order to have this common fiscal discipline, if you don't want to hinder growth and growth potential, we need to complement this national fiscal discipline, which should be intelligent, with a proper fiscal capacity, as all other monetary zones in the world have. No monetary zone in the world ever exists and is sustainable without a fiscal capacity.